So we've got a very special episode here. We're going to be doing our special 1 year tour. We have Smoka, one of our members here, and we have a special guest, Bvella. We have the Discord overlay so you can see who's talking. Obviously you guys know my voice. Smoka might not be talking, but Bvella will be here and he will be giving his input and stuff. So yeah, we are currently in our spawn perimeter. Something that has been taking quite a while for decoration purposes, because as you can see behind me, if I zoom in real quick, you can see all of the blocks, different types of blocks there that are in the wall, which is not very easy to do in a wall. But on a floor, the floor took about a couple days. The wall's taken about a week per wall almost, because the floor you can do every single color at once, and not really easy with the wall when you have floating blocks and everything. So you can do the black basically all by itself, but then the colors inside take quite some time. But yeah, so hopefully it doesn't take 3 more weeks to finish all 3 extra walls, but if it does, it'll still look cool in the end. So the floor is, you can see my profile picture. I kind of have a pixel art on my cape here. You can see looks kind of similar to that, obviously smaller scale, but yeah. So we can see, go down here, we see all the blocks that we still need to place. In total, it's about 400,000-ish blocks we need to do. So the floor was about, if you consider the glass on top, it's about, 600,000, but the floor itself is still quite a bit. So yeah, all the blocks down here, and there's still, like I said, quite a bit to do because we still have 3 more walls to do. But this was not fun to gather, let alone build, but it'll still look pretty cool in the end, and will be a great spawn for hopefully our 2-year tour. But yeah, let's go back up to the portal here, and we'll go to our Nether Hub. So in our Nether Hub, we have 2 different sides. We have the south side and the north side. The north side is the one that has the most things right now, but the south side does have some other things. I don't see either of you guys. Am I blind? Or is he not? Oh, okay, there he is. It must be a shaders glitch, I guess. But yeah, so we're going to start on the south side here. Some of the stuff is very early game, like the slime farm we're going to go to. So it's just piston bolt location, or piston bolt to each location, and just hold W at the end of each piston bolt. We don't have the block at the end to push you across, but getting out of the cart will be automatic. So like I said, it's our starter slime farm. I say starter, some people will consider this a big build, but very special in the seed here. I found a 7 long slime chunk all in one line here. So it was an adaptation from Ilmango's 2x2 slime chunk slime farm. I just adapted it for 1 single slime chunk because we have about 32,000 spawn spaces here, even clearing out the 8x8 in the center of the chunk. So it's still kind of crazy, but not very good for late game. I mean, it could be good. It's about 25,000-ish slime balls an hour, but you don't really need more than that, depending on what you want to do, but bigger can be crazier to look at. But yeah, this minecart underneath the stone platform here will collect the slime balls that get dropped from the slime, and then transport it up to these crafting stations up here. We have AutoCrafting on the server, so a carpet mod that allows us to automatically craft stuff, as the mod would say. So adds hopper support and chopper support for crafting tables. And with this very simple circuit here, once the crafting table gets filled up, it'll give us a signal and then unlock the bottom hopper, taking the slime block out of the crafting table. So yeah, very simple thing, but did work at the start. You can see slime blocks are here, but not very useful for late game. So yeah, let's go to the next destination. Each piston bolt has a return at the top here. So 1 piston bolt goes towards the location itself. The other one is a return station back to the hub. And each one has its own set of minecarts, just in case, minecarts aren't very expensive. But yeah, we'll go to the next thing over here, which is our double perimeter. There's a gold farm and barter area combined into one long perimeter. We will hopefully be able to show the gold farm working, but yeah, the piston bolt is a little bit a ways away because of the perimeter. We don't want to cover the farm, but yeah, so this is one of the craziest farms to bid. You can't really see much because of the fog here, but we'll go down into here and we'll show the farm off. So we have 2 chunks of update suppressed portals here. It's about 800,000 gold nuggets per hour. If you decraft the gold ingots that you get from looting into gold nuggets, it's about 1,000,000 gold nuggets per hour. But let's turn the shaders off real quick to show the perimeter off. And yeah, the floor isn't done here, so you can see it's just all bedrock. But what we're going to do here is going to take quite a while because we need to get some gold from the farm to build the floor. So that's why it hasn't been done yet. But yeah, we were going to break the whole bedrock roof here, but with our new piston bolts, it will be kind of hard to break all of the bedrock with the piston bolts in the way. So unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be able to do that. But that's okay for now. So I'm going to put a bot here. And I'm going to go turn off the Nether mob switch. So if you guys want to go to the overworld side, just go through here. Won't run it for too long because your client may crash because of all the pigmen. There, we have one more piston bolt here. Takes us close enough so we don't interfere with the portal linking with the actual farm itself. Go down to here to our actual storage and everything. So yeah, we have a selector panel here. We can decide which we want gold ingots, which will redirect the auto crafters to the gold ingot and just throw it into shulker boxes that way, right here. If we want just gold blocks, it'll switch the water stream to go down to here and then craft the ingots that we get from the gold nugget crafters into blocks this way and then put those into shulker boxes down here. So yeah, this system can handle the 1,000,000 gold nuggets that the farm produces, and we also have some ones at the end here to collect some gold nuggets that we would get to craft those into blocks. You can see those 4 right here will go into their own shulker box loader and get into blocks. So we have a bulk storage over here, but you can see it's not very bulk. And then our gold block is over here. We have some gold at least. And then yeah. So let's go turn the farm on. Alright, so the farm is active. I'm currently in spectator. Smoka is inside there. And you can see this farm is absolutely crazy. 1,000,000 gold nuggets per hour is a lot of pigment. I've currently myself only run the farm for about 4 hours, and I've already killed 1.8 million zombie pigmen. We're going to turn the player in the nether off. Don't want to run it for too long, as the server can pretty much die very quickly. It's not because of the server dying, it's kind of the player. If it's not perfectly centered in the block, they will unfortunately not be able to stay alive for long. And we usually run the farm at half speed, that way it's about 20 ms on the server. That way, you know, we only get 500,000 gold nuggets an hour. I say only, but that way we can at least you know, do some other things on the server while the farm is running. But yeah, so I'm gonna head back to there and we'll go visit the Barter area on the other side of the perimeter. Alright, so let's go to the other side of the perimeter. This perimeter is 532 by 266 blocks long. Let's take the shaders off real quick so you can see just how wide it is, and we'll go to the voxel map here, and you can see the size of it right here compared to our regular size perimeter. We'll go see a little bit later. Yeah, so we have Ashfest's gold barter system here. It's a playerless system. So you would put shulker boxes of gold blocks into the system right here, and then the shulker boxes would get unloaded and dispensed to the piglins. So we have the portals above them, which was where the items would go. And if we go to the portal top and go to the overworld side, and despite it being not very many piglins, it is still very, very quick. I think we've in total thrown about 200 or so shulkers to the barter system itself. So we have a bunch of gravel, a bunch of blackstone, indicated by the blocks up top. Good amount of quartz here, and we really used it for the quartz, obsidian, and soul sand. That's one of the main things that we've used it for so far. This is actually our only source of string on the server, so it also was used for that. And yeah, very simple storage, just a bunch of 2x loaders. And then, yeah, we have this 1x1 portal here where all the items will come through and then just get simply sorted out into shulker boxes. So we only keep some of the stuff that's up here. We don't keep any potions, armor, books, any of that stuff, boots. All that stuff gets thrown in the lava. You really don't need much of it. You can stand on the water stream if you want to get like a few books or something like that, if you need soul speed or whatever. But that would just get too many to sort and keep, so we just put it all in shulker boxes here, which is kind of the best steps, the solution. So yeah, we'll go back to the Nether here and we'll go to the next destination. Alright, back at the hub, go to the next area. The next area is technically the ice farm, but it is just currently a 100 by 100 platform of water that freezes. We are going to Bvella 72k ice farm soon, but like I said, with school, me in college, everything back up, projects have slowed down quite a bit. But yeah, so we're going to go to the main base. This was before the server was actually opened, or actually was a server. So we're going to lower the view distance real quick because we do pass the nether mob switch. And if we have a high render distance on, it will load all the withers and that will lag the game pretty bad. So this is about 1,000 block long piston bolt. So you can see we turn directions there. We were going in the west direction and now we're going south. And we should be there very quickly. Alright, so this is one of the things that I have built, or taken a lot of time to build. And yeah, this is the main base. You can see it's inspired by Vesco. At the bottom is, at least, and the top was the castle that I designed. Fortunately, it does get cut off because of world limit. We're at 256 here, so we can't go any higher. There was actually more on top of this, but you can see there's just a big open spot there, unfortunately. But yeah, let's go sleep real quick. It does look pretty cool at night, but daytime does look a bit better. Yeah, so this is all prismarine, dark prismarine, and prismarine bricks with sea lanterns. A lot of dark prismarine went into this. I think, let's see how much I've crafted so far, or placed in dark prismarine. Yeah, about 75,000 dark prismarine has gone to this build so far. And yeah, it doesn't really get used too much because, I mean, it was mainly just for me if I was going to be a single player. But everything's open in it. You don't really use a base too much on a server. But yeah, fly to the top here. It's like the actual part that gets used for right now. So we have a giant, massive multi-item sorter. This is technically our main storage right now, but hopefully with the development of our actual main storage in our creative testing world, this will get yeeted out and will not be used pretty much ever again. So we have a map here of the spawn perimeter. Just the size of it is, I think it's like 366 blocks by 366 blocks. But yeah, so it's like 3 whole maps, but you see the bottom part is not very much of the floor, it's just the outside area. And yeah, so multi-item storages are good when they work. So this one currently doesn't work too well. If we go to a chest, you can see there's just a bunch of random stuff in it. Like there's redstone in the quartz, so I don't know what's going on here, but the source system did break, but it was working perfectly fine before. But yeah, let's see, everything's pretty much empty because we're on a server now, and we have various bunch of projects. So yeah, a bunch of shulkers here if we ever need for farms and stuff. We have the mob head data pack, so we can use those as decoration if we want. And yeah, so there's some things down at the bottom here. The castle isn't very finished yet, but the inside at least has the bottom floor with some things on it. So one side over here, we have the farm selector panels. You can see we have 4 different farms, and we have 4 different pillars in the side, in the center here. So each pillar at the very bottom has a farm, like a very, very small farm. So we get a little bit of passive things at the base. This was an idea for me when I was actually, you know, a single player in the world before it was open to a server. So we have these cobble farm here. We have a small furnace array, which has its own side on the selector panel. We have a melon pumpkin farm, And then we have a small sugarcane farm, which wasn't really just to have something, but it's since been upgraded. So we go to the furnace side over here. We have the item output here. We have the item input here, shulker boxes only, and then our fuel input here as well. So this is like a very weird furnace array selector panel area, but it did work for when it was just me. It is only about 40 or so furnaces, but it was a good challenge to make a furnace system in a 9x9 area. So it was fun, but it's not very productive compared to an actual furnace array. But it was a good challenge to test my redstone and to see if it was possible, which it is. So yeah, not too much is done here at the base. We have one more thing at the bottom since we are on a server now, and rockets can be quite difficult to get with a small sugarcane farm. So if you go to the bottom of the base and the very middle, underwater, there is this other small looking Vesco tower here. And one of the doors there. Go down the vine here. We have a big sugarcane farm here, which is where the majority of our sugarcane for the paper comes. It can all be controlled from the top of the base. We don't need to come down here pretty much ever. Yeah, it's simple. Just flying machines, minecarts, collected underneath. And then all the items will get transported up to the top of the base and will get filled in shulker boxes for us to later use into paper. So yeah, this thing is kind of overkill. We basically needed AFK for one night, and we have enough paper for the rest of the world, whichever how long that lasts. But yeah, so it is quite crazy, and we won't ever need paper ever again. So we go back to the top here, and we'll just swim out and then fly back to the top. Like I said, the base isn't done. You can see the pillars are just floated on the water. We'll eventually, at some point, connect them to the bottom, make it look a little bit more natural. Then if we fly, you can see the massive pipes underneath that transport all the items to and from the farms. So yeah, these are kind of meant to just transport the items from the farms to the shulker loaders up top here, which is on the other side over here. So we can put them all in shulker boxes and then put them into storage. It's kind of fun to do this, but obviously it's not practical in a large scale at all. But yeah, take a close look at last look at the castle itself here. And the base, a lot of time has been into this one, but unfortunately it doesn't get used too much since the server situation. But yeah, let's go back to the portal and we'll head to our next area. So the next location we're going to go to is something that was used for the location after this. So this was used to repair a bunch of tools when we were doing some digging in the overworld and stuff. So this was just nice to have the have it with them. We don't have to turn the mob switch off to repair tools or anything like that. We could just go to this portal pigman farm here, and this would repair tools without needing to, say let's turn an overworld mob switch off or something like that, which would affect everybody else on the server. This will work with the mouse switches both on. So there's not much decoration here yet. I might honestly like, oh, you didn't like. So it's just pretty much just Ilmango's max portal pigman farm. Let's raise our view distance again to 16. And yeah, nothing too crazy here, just a bunch of portals. Main reason why we needed all the obsidian was for this project here. Not too much, only about like 15 or so shulkers of obsidian, but it is still a good amount. So yeah, the player was standing in the center here. They would aggro the pigmen. We have 2 alarm pigmen on each side here to keep the aggro chain, and then yeah, you could prepare your tools that way. It is quite slow because we have XP no cooldown on the server, but there will be maybe a bigger farm in the future, but I wouldn't say it's too needed since we already have this one here. Yeah, Bvella is going to show the farm off here. Fortunately, the aggro chain with multiple people here doesn't stay very well. But yeah, Basically, you would aggro all them all to the center here. They would die on the minecarts because there's 24 minecarts there. They would entity cram. And yeah, I don't know why we really collect the gold here. It's not very much or useful since we have a faster farm and everything. But yeah, let's head to the next location. So like I said, the next location over to the right here is mainly what the repairing was used for a ton. We actually did dig a perimeter on this server, so this is where we're going to go first. The reason why we dug this perimeter is sort of because we wanted to at least dig one perimeter in the world. But yeah, we're going to drop down here, then we're going to fly straight up. So we wanted to dig at least one different shaped perimeter here. So we have something different than just a bunch of squares. So we have a circle on the other side here. I call it the iron circle, because it is an iron farm inside of a circle. And this is one of my favorite perimeters so far, because it is the first time actually digging a full scale perimeter. So if we go down here, we can see we have 4 of the Mechanist towers. So we have 64,000 iron per hour coming from this farm here, which is kind of crazy. And we're actually going to go sleep real quick because shaders at night, when there's not very much light here besides the portals, it's not very good. So something different that I adapted from this design here is Mecha had their controls in the overworld. I put it all to the Nether, but if you do select a different rate than it was before, than it was previously, the hopper clocks would get out of sync. So if you want to change the rates, you would need to come to the overworld and make sure the hopper clocks are all in sync by powering this lever here to turn off all hopper clocks. And yeah, so that's just to get it all in sync. We'll go to the Nether side and it'll show all the controls and everything. But I think the farm itself is still crazy to look at. At the edge here, you'll see this little bit of black glass in the middle of this gray glass. That is to indicate where it is actually chunk loaded if you use all of the 4 farms at once. So that's the reason why we went the digging out the area here instead of a full perimeter. It's a bit easier. I won't say easier, but it does look cool to actually have a circle perimeter than a square one. But yeah, the floor is a bit of an adaptation of an image that we found. It was originally all white background with the black of the shapes there, but to fit the iron theme, we did black, white, and red with a bit of gray background, just to fit the theme we have going on here for the iron. So let's go back to the top there. You can see where I have 4 chunk load-in portals. What's special about this farm is that it is completely playerless. You don't need any player once the farm is active, which is always good for lag purposes. So currently on the server, if we do put all 4 modules in, or active at once, it would produce around 25 ms, I think. But we don't have a full perimeter on the other side, so it's not the best. Usually if you can just hold space, but I messed it up. And yeah, so we have the Nether control panel over here. So if you wanted to select different rates, you would select the 16,000. That would, once we activate the farm, put that in that rate. If you want to put the 64,000, we need to activate every single one below it. So if you want 48, you need to act 48, 32, and 16. Just the way the selector panel works. We are going to turn the farm on actually, because this is kind of crazy to watch. I'm just going to lower my sound because it is quite a loud boom when they first come through. So we have 4 update suppressed portals here for all the iron golems to come in. You really only need 1, but for the farm itself, we've decided to go with 4, just for symmetry purposes. But yeah, every couple seconds here, we should get it all kicked in, and we should see a bunch of iron golems come through at once. Alright, that's the explosion we get. It should be about 200-ish golems or so every 30 seconds. So yeah, with me going into overorder now, it kind of messes it up, but usually they all come through in one set. And we have this system by rim that pushes all the items to the center here. shifted floor, and then everything would get pushed over and then sent over the sorters, which have autocrafters attached to it. Let me head to the overworld side here. Alright, go down here, access to the storage itself. And we'll go to one of the crafting tables here. You can see just how quick. This is a 3x crafter here. We have 3 hoppers pointing into this crafting table for iron blocks. So we put all the iron into the block form, and then all the bone, or the poppies, we do kind of collect them. We really don't need to. We just have another source. We compost all the poppies into bone meal, and then that would craft into bone blocks there. But yeah, iron blocks is always the main reason why we have this crafting table. So yeah. If we go to the storage, go back up to the storage there. Alright, back to the storage, you can see the indicator lamps here. We have pretty much about 2 double chests of iron blocks in shulker boxes. So it's roughly, the sign says, about 2.25 million iron blocks, or in ingot terms, it's about 20 million iron ingots from this farm. So this thing is kind of crazy. We've AFK'd it for, I think it was about a week total. We just had this all in the background, running at full speed because we could. It was at, like I said, like 20 to 25 ms on the server, which still allowed us to operate and do other things on the server while it was running. And in that time, we've gotten 18 shulker boxes of bone blocks from the farm, which, like I said, in terms of compared to iron, isn't very good, but think about it, that is 9 times more in bone meal, so quite a bit of bone meal from this farm if you actually compost the poppies. But yeah, all in all, this was a fun project for me to actually design. I didn't design the overworld side, I just adapted some of the redstone from the Mechanist one, and yeah, so let's head back to the next destination. So this piston bolt here is going to be for our furnace right. Currently there's nothing on the overworld side or another side either. We're waiting for 117 to have the shulker box yeeting. We basically unload a shulker box immediately. So after this tour, about a week or 2, we'll probably update to 117, so we can have that feature. And yeah, that's just the bolt for the location there. Once we finally have everything done, we do have a nether quarry we can go to if you want, but really slow on the server, but we'll fly to it. Doesn't really need a piston bolt. Honestly, it's not worth it at all. And we'll just go down to the quarry itself. Let's find a dropper vader over here. And there's bedrock broken over here. Just drop down. So this is Cadender's Ancient Debris Quarry. It works in 116, so it uses the feature that you can block 36 ancient debris and blow it up. You can see down here we've run it for about, I think it was about a week or so, and that's all it's cleared out. So on a small scale, this is not worth it at all, but you can see on a bigger scale, this could definitely be good for passively getting quartz, soul sand, anything in another. Ancient debris is kind of slow, but you do get some. But yeah, this is also some movable design. Obviously, quarries need to be able to move forward. So this will go basically how much area you cleared out. We cleared out a bit much on the overhead, so this could run for pretty much months and months and months, and it would never reach the end there. But I didn't realize how slow it was until actually building it up in survival and letting it go. So yeah, in total, we really don't get much from this because we don't run it anymore. It's just like a feasibility to see if it was worth it, and like I said, on a larger scale, definitely would be worth it. So there's a little bit of storage over here, probably just emptied out. You know, a little bit of netherrack. That's it. That's all that's left. But on a large scale, this would be kind of cool. So go back to the hub and go to the next location. You can see we have 2 more portals over here. This could be various different locations for farms and stuff, but currently don't have anything set up to it. And yeah, that's the south side of the hub completely done. Let's go on to the north side. So we go to the one that's the most, or the least impressive. This is just our tree farming area, or a bunch of random farms. We just don't care about decoration. We want to just have them built on the side here. So we have a universal tree farm here, which apparently has a zombified Hoglin here. This is a very early tree farm, was used for charcoal as well. We have a charcoal feature where we could just put all the wood into furnaces and get charcoal that way for other fuel in early game. So like I said, this isn't used very often anymore. Besides, we need a little bit of wood, but we should have a faster farm soon enough. So the player would stand here, just select the mode they want to do, oak, acacia, or all other modes, and they would just plant the sapling. I don't think we do have bone meal. Could actually turn it on. We'll put it in regular mode here. And let's use spruce trees here. So it is a very fast farm itself. If you consider it's only about like 20 or so thousand, but consider the size that it is, pretty good, especially for early game. A couple other things here. We have just a regular furnace array if we need some small smelting here. Over here we have a very honey farm. Just a few things, but it is the only source of honey on the server. But we do have quite a bit. I think we have about 2 shulkers of honey blocks, so that is a good amount for now. Modified Ilmengo cobble farm here. So we have 2 of them. It's about like 500 some thousand, I think, an hour. So, but we will have a different one at the actual farming area soon. Mainly for crafting pistons, which we'll need very, very soon. Over here we have another tree farm, and you can use for both nether trees. It also has a bone meal input from the pumpkins that we compost into bone meal. We originally had melons there, but I used the pumpkins to get jack-o'-lanterns, so that's the reason why it's pumpkins, not melons right now. Yeah, that foam meal will go over to here. If it gets too filled up, it'll just go into storage. And then we have this nether wart farm. So this tree farm, the nether tree farm is fully sustainable. It can run by itself. And we get the funguses from this little shifting floor. We'll go to the player, and then that player would use those. And then once it gets low, the system will detect that, and then start the farm on again. Then we have one more thing over here, which we needed for the spawn decoration. We needed about 5 or 6 shulker boxes of crimson nylium for the spawn. So this little contraption here, we turned netherrack into the nylium. We placed netherrack here, we get bone mealed. And then I have another player over here that would silk touch the block here, and the blocks would then go into a shulker loader and get filled up. So it's a very small farm, but it was useful for when we needed the nylium for the spawn. But other than that, this area doesn't get used too much at all. It's just a mess. But yeah, back to the hub. We'll go to some more crazy looking farms. Alright, so we'll go to the actual, one of the cool perimeters, I would like to call it. This is going to be our 28 slime chunk farm. So this was before I was good with update suppression. So the portals are just portals stacked to Y40. But if we do another slime farm, which we would probably only do just to have a Y0 update suppressed one, I don't think we'll do that anytime soon because we have other projects to do. But if we ever do, that would be something different we would do. So it is a 2-dimensional farm, obviously, with portals. So on the other side we have the storage and everything, but we'll go to the overworld side first, which is just this portal on the side here. So I usually disconnect when I go through this portal. I don't know why, but I want to reconnect. So yeah, we have 28 slime chunks for this farm. And it's about 400,000-ish slime balls an hour. Would be a lot faster if we had a Y0 suppressed portals, but that does require a lot of work. But the floor here was designed by one of the members, and it was very much a pain to build. but it does look pretty cool. Fits well with the color scheme that we have going on here. And the walls, obviously, are all just concrete randomized blocks. But we have turtle legs on the side here to lure all the pigmen. This is a farm we could actually turn on, which we actually might do, because it is always fun to watch this. This was something I tested after I got the server up. I tested this with the new server, and it was pretty lag efficient on the server. I was surprised. I think we only peaked at like 10 ms, which is kind of crazy. So I'm going to spawn a player here, and we'll go to the nether side and show it off. So down here, we have a bunch of things. So we're going to go down to the spawn area itself first, or the killing chamber, you want to call it. So all the slime would fall down here. I'm going to go turn the mob switch off. Alright, on the overworld side, or the nether side here, should be full speed here. So if we count the 576 withers that we have for the switches, there's about 200 or so slimes here at any given point in time. Fortunately, because I'm a spectator, you can't see the small guys, but they usually die immediately. But yeah, 400,000 slime an hour is quite crazy, and the server by itself is usually at like 10 ms, which is pretty good. Underneath here, if you wanted to go down the ladder with the on off switch over here, you can see the collection we have down here, or just go into spectator mode, either way. Yeah, it's one thing, we didn't have sorters on top before. Now we have sorters, so all the slime will get into the sorter itself here, and if they can't go into the sorter, it would go over and get burned to lava. So that's useful because sometimes we do get some zombie pigmen to come through the portal. They spawn on the actual portal itself, so that's good to get rid of the the gold, the rotten flesh, or the gold swords that drop from them, and we can just AFK this and not have to worry about it. And then all those get packed into shulker boxes, and then on the top there will go up, so all those shulker boxes get transported up to the next layer. So if we just fly back up, we have the main crafting system here. So we take the slime balls, the shulker boxes full of slime balls, and we craft them into slime blocks up here automatically. The system is something that I actually designed, which is quite cool. It's always cool to design your own things and make them work pretty cool. So yeah, these are a bunch of shulker unloaders. So we unload them and then put them into crafting tables here, which would then pack them back into shulker boxes and then transport them back to the top, giving you a filled shulker box. So currently we have quite a bit of shulker boxes back here of slime. I think it's about 4 or 5 double chests of slime blocks, of shulkers of course. So we have plenty of slime, and we'll never need this farm ever again, basically. So yeah, this unloaders can keep up with the amount of slime that we get from the farm, which is always good, so we can just run this both at the same time. And yeah, that's pretty much the slime farm all done. Alright, so fortunately Bvella has to go right now, so Smoke and I will continue the tour itself. But yeah, thanks to Bvella for coming on the tour, and we'll continue with the destinations on the end. Alright, on to our next perimeter. We have quite a few on the server so far. We're going to go to the Hoglin Perimeter. This was also before I was comfortable doing update suppression, so it is just 3 layers of portals. And if we do this again, I would definitely make it update suppressed, but that's all good. But yeah, about 800 block long piston bolt here, not too bad at all. You can see just our nether here that we've done so far. Not very much compared to the overworld, but yeah, drop down to the perimeter here. We'll turn on vibrant shaders instead, so you can actually see the perimeter. because of the fog in BSL. But yeah, this was one of the first times we actually broke bedrock above the perimeter itself. So you can see the overhang is quite a bit drastic compared to the gold farm. But that's nothing to worry about. Still does its purpose. Doesn't look as cool though. We could break the bedrock roof over this one if we wanted to. I think maybe. Is the piston bolt over the perimeter? I think it would interfere with the overhang though. Unfortunately, yeah. Interfere with the overhang. Unfortunately, I don't think we can. But yeah, so this is the farm. We're using the fact that only hoglins will spawn on jack-o'-lanterns, so we don't get any of the piglins and stuff like that. So trapdoors on top to limit, so we only get the hoglins, which is always good. And they would wander their way into the portal there. And then onto the overworld side. Let's go put a player in place. You want to do that, so we can just spawn any bot there. Yep. And then we'll go to the overworld side and show it off. Alright, so even without the update suppressed portals, you can see just how many hoglins we're getting here. This is about 350,000 pork chops per hour and about 50,000 leather per hour, so no one can ever use that much leather, but the pork chops, no one can use that either. But we ran this for about 30 minutes and we have pretty much enough food to last us forever. So yeah, this is all the pork we have from that very little time. And a little bit of leather here that we'll never use either. But yeah, this thing is still one of the first portal builds that I did in a perimeter. And it was pretty cool to look at the end. Obviously, it would be better server performance if we did make a perimeter on this side, but 20 MS is still pretty good for the farm. Not great, but still pretty good. So yeah, we have a shifting floor down here. We call it the Mega Hopper. We actually need to turn that on, or else we're going to crash the server. So this will cycle all of the items in a circle here, if it wants to work. There we go. So cycle all the items down into the center here, fall into the water, and then get sorted out in the shulker boxes here. Loaded into those, and then sent up to the player, of course. Let's turn on BSL again, a bit better to see. Alright, so that goes all, and then transfer it back up to the top here, which should then go into the storage right here, where we have a bunch of stuff. So let's turn the farm off here. Alright, here we go, farm started off. Now we're gonna go turn the mouse switch back on and head to our next location. So the mesa right here would be the next location, but it's currently just a mesa biome. We're gonna build a quarry there at some point, hopefully, but it's just a mesa biome where we got kind of terracotta and stuff like that. We'll head to the early game mob farm here. That doesn't get used either. Pretty much any early game farm doesn't get used at all, just because we don't really need the stuff anymore. But it was good early game to have them working. This was really used for bones for the tree farm and this all early game, but other than that, it doesn't get used too much anymore. So yeah, we have a shifting floor Ilmango mob farm here. Very good for early game. Kind of hard to build if you don't have enough soul sand or mango blocks, but honestly, it does work pretty good. For 30,000 drops is not a small amount. Definitely is worth it. But honestly, we don't really need anything besides bones for bone meal, and we have plentiful of sources to do that now. But yeah, put the decoration into storage here. This was before we had shulker boxes in good quantities, so everything's just put into chest here. Bunch of gunpowder there, and rotten flesh on the side here. I don't even know why I stored, but I did. So yeah, on all switches in here. We're not gonna turn this farm on. Just shifting floor, that floor mob back and forth. Fall onto the magma blocks there. And then collected by hopper minecarts. And then send the items up to the player at the top there. So yeah, like I said, it seems like a big farm, but it's kind of early game in a sense. Alright, onto another early game farm that's kind of been the main source of all the prismarine for the castle that was there. If you can't guess by the piston bolt here, there's a guardian farm. One of the cleanest looking piston bolts I've built so far, to be honest. Okay, we kind of theme all our piston bolts with the location that we're going at, whether it's the banner at the front or it's the color scheme itself with the farm or the mob. So on the other side here, we did have some crafters early game, so with my starter AutoCrafters, and we just moved on to the Nether or the overworld side here instead. So underneath we have, underneath all the storage, we have AutoCrafters. These were my first ever AutoCrafters, so they are very, very slow. Only thing that is fast is the Prismarine Brick Crafter, because we have 3 hoppers going into that. So that makes it very fast. Other than that, the other ones are not very good, and the regular Prismarine right here needs movable block entities to work. But I do have a new design that would work, but we don't really use these blocks too often anymore, so it's not really worth to upgrade it. But yeah, so we have the farm down here by Numbum, and it is a very fast design if you would lose loot in, but currently we just have the Guardian's Fall on the other side, and yeah, basically 3 layers of soul sand and portals. Flush them into the portal here, and yeah, so this would be very good if it's in perimeter, but even without perfect perimeter conditions, without any spawn prevent at all, it is still 400,000 items an hour, and the max is about 500,000 an hour, so we're not losing too much in a sense, but still 100,000 items is a good amount to lose. But yeah, so storage, you have 256 double chests of space for each item. This is once again before we had shulker boxes, so we had to improvise with chests. And at the end of this one here, we have the Sea Lantern AutoCrafter. Very slow one, but we'll put in the items we want and get the Sea Lantern output. The reason why we need to have one as one its own area is because it is 9 items in the recipe. So we would need 9 different areas to do that. We were doing it the old craft table way with the so yeah, we have 8 double chests basically per section here, so we could turn that on and off. But if we wanted to do sea lanterns, we would need 9 double chests, which doesn't work with the 8 that we have there. So we had to make its own crafting station, which is okay and not okay, but made it work. So if it on select a panel for each crafter, if you want to turn on, let's say the sea lantern or the dark prismarine and regular prismarine, the bricks, you would just turn off the one of the levers here, and that would power all of the hoppers here to lock them. But yeah, early game guardian farm, very useful for the base. So let's go to the next destination. So our next destination would technically be the end, but we're going to save that for last because it is one thing that goes multiple locations. So we'll go to the very simple, we start off the starter slime farm, we'll show off the starter witch farm, which doesn't really need a piston bolt. It's pretty much faster to walk there. But just for the sake of the Nether Hub, we put a piston bolt there. Yeah, very simple. Loot and witch farm was used for redstone in the early game. But other than that, don't really use it at all. Could basically just tear it down and nobody would know because it's not very good. Because we have better ones we can show off soon. But yeah, simple looting witch farm. Push them off the platform here with flying machines. Transport them up to the player with the water bubble elevator. And then a player would sit up here with a sword and just loot and would sort everything out. So you see redstone is emptied. Glowstone is also emptied. Sugar is through the roof. Gunpowder is probably emptied as well. Yep. And then there's a bunch of sticks here that have also been emptied. And glass bottles. So yeah, glass bottles are used for the honey farm, but other than that, it really has no use. Alright, at our next location here, we have the raid farm, which is actually now our actual source of redstone. So we have the CCS raid farm here, 430,000 items an hour. This is the first thing where auto-crafting was added to the server, and you can see it's not very good right now. It's just isn't good, as reliable as it used to be. But yeah, this was the first thing where autocrafting was pretty much added. And we have all the emeralds. We can put those into emerald blocks with the autocrafters here. And then we have the redstone get put into redstone blocks. So emeralds are almost completely filled. We used a lot for piston bolts and stuff. Gunpowder is filled, so I honestly can't run this farm too much longer without clearing some stuff out because everything is filled. And redstone is, wow, still somewhat filled. Still got about 15 double chested redstone blocks, which is pretty good. Definitely will need more, but we'll be building a better raid farm for that later. But this thing we're not going to turn on because it is very, without a perimeter, it's kind of bad on the server. And it is, you can see, the Vexes are targeting us, which is not good. So this will need to be adapted and made a new farm at some point, which will be in a perimeter for better lag purposes. We fly to the north. Which is the north? Fly this way. We have our outpost here, which is the main reason why we built it so close, because we have the outpost right next to it. And we would just get pillagers to spawn here, or what used to be an outpost, they would spawn on this sand here, attracted to the golem in the center, fall down, and then you get your bad omen that way. Not very good, because the underneath here is not spawn proofed at all. But if you were to use it, you need to just fly up and just spawn everything underneath you, and then the pillagers will spawn here and hope you get a banner guy for the bad omen effect. But yeah, honestly, we're gonna have a better system hopefully soon with the even faster raid farm. But for now, this is our current source of redstone and emeralds, and you see it's very dangerous. We have 2 more locations in the Nether. Technically 3 with the end one to do, but that's pretty much nothing. Yeah, so we go to the double witch hut perimeter. So this is about a 2,500 block long piston bolt, so it will be a few minutes. So we'll be back once we get to the end. Alright, at the end of our piston bolt. Finally made it. We're about, yeah, like I said, 1,500 in one direction and 750 in one direction, so it's about 2,500 blocks-ish. So yeah, this is one of the coolest perimeters on the server, one of the first ones to be completed. If you don't count, well, this is the first one to be completed in its entirety, not actually being cleared out, but the first one to be fully decorated and completed. So we have the floor here, which is the X design here. It doesn't look too bad on a map, but if we go out there, you can see the back 2 here are concrete powder for each X. So it's kind of a pain. So we have 2 witch huts in one perimeter here. One of the coolest looking things that I've built so far, but the wall decoration did take quite a while. So yeah, we have 2 shift in floor witch farms here. And yeah, reasonable design. Shift the 4 back and forth with soul sand full blocks, wishes will fall through onto the hoppers. Then all the items get transported into the center tower here, and then get sorted out and packed into shulker boxes. Currently, everything is pretty much emptied out. Actually, redstone, gunpowder is a little bit left, glowstone is gone, sugar, and all these ones have a bunch of shulkers here because they don't get used too often. But yeah, so the walls took about, I want to say about 8-ish hours per wall, and the floor is actually looks harder than the walls, but the floor actually only took about 24 hours or so, which is not too bad for a full perimeter floor. But yeah, if you look at the center of the perimeter, which is the 2 blocks right here, it is pretty much as close as you could get to having the both witch huts basically centered in the perimeter, which is quite rare. Usually you have like one in the corner or one over here, so it looks pretty weird, but this actually turned out pretty good in the end with the final decoration and everything. So yeah, perfectly fits the Halloween theme going on right now in October. So we have the spooky design with the witches and the pumpkin. So yeah, We have a couple more locations to go, and then we'll be finished with the world tour. Alright, so the main reason why we use piston bolts on the server here is just because it is kind of a quality of life thing. Get in a minecart and hit the button, and you just go to the destination. But if you use ice boats, you need to actually hold W and steer yourself, especially around corners. Not very good, but we're coming on the end here of the piston bolt, and you can see it's just a wall, but it is not. We have a vertical ascendant piston bolt here. Place it up to the actual portal. Did it break for you?
Yeah.
There you go. So it sends you about 28 blocks per second. And what's good about that is you don't need to actually get out of the minecart to go vertical, which is also good. So we'll just continue all the way up until you get to the top here, and then we'll go to the farm itself, or the perimeter. Right, so the reason why we have the portal up there is so we don't interfere with the portal linking down here, so we have a 2-dimensional wither skeleton farm. Which we would turn on, but going back to the mob switch would be quite a bit of a travel. So we're not going to do that right now, but it is not the fastest thing. It is an adaptation from JL2579 about 6 years ago. They used this thing called the gas sweeper, I think it was. So we used the hitbox of the Ghast here to push all of the mobs that spawn on the packed ice into the portals here. The carpets here will stop the magma cubes from spawning. And yeah, so this design isn't very good. Honestly, it was meant just to get blazes in a sense, but also get a side of wither skeletons. There will be faster ones made soon, but this is just the one we currently have. Total we have, I think, is about 40 some ghasts. Actually, we have 54 ghasts in this design, so we have a quad crossroad. Bit of a weird shape here. We have an L, and then it's a 1 by itself. The L isn't very optimal because the time-ins can not be the best. So the gas on this side, per se, will push over. Since there is no wall here, they could get pushed over here. And then these gas will need to push them back, and then these gas will need to push them back forward. Bit of a mess, but it was a fun farm to actually design my own farm here. Obviously, Wither Roses would be the best bet here, but then you wouldn't get the blazes, so the main reason why I went with the pushing of the gas here. But yeah. Not very fast, very like 350 skulls per hour. You really don't need many more than that, but yeah. Let's go to the overworld side and show the killing chambers off. Take the portal at the top here that we were brought to, and we'll go down there. So we have the portal here, hit the button, you'll drop down here. You need to fly because there's no slime blocks down there. You would just split on the ground. Let's turn on BSL again. So here we have a minecart looting system that I designed. It is it's not the fastest, it's a 21 game take reset, so about 2 seconds, or about a second or so for the minecart to get back to you. Definitely are faster designs, but it was, you know, cool to design your own. Always is cool to design your own things, not rely off tutorials and stuff. So yeah, you can actually hit the minecart. You can test it out even though there's no mobs here, but we see that every second minecart swipe here, we push the mobs over, and then we push the items down. The items will then get pushed down, perfectly aligned, and then sent off to the sorters here. So you can see we have a little bit of a backlog down there. The sorters are still working, or the AutoCraft are still working. Bit of a backlog of bones here. To bone meal, and then to bone blocks, which is why we have some different craft tables here. They will all get loaded into shulker boxes. You can go down there with CS. So our skulls, see there's some in here. And then go to the bone one here, which is currently getting filled. Actually just got a full shulker box there, but you can see just how quick it gets filled up if it's actually at full speed. This could be filled in very quick succession. But yeah. We have sorters for blaze rods over here. We have sorters for the coal right here. Then we also get some little bit of gold from this farm. It's about 1,200 ingots an hour. So not much, but it is a bit of a passive gold farm. we have sorters for the gold nuggets itself here, and then we have sorters for the gold ingots that you get. So we craft the gold ingots into gold blocks, and we craft the gold nuggets to gold ingots, then to gold blocks, and then they both go to the same loader here. And then we passively get some gold blocks. You wouldn't get very much from this at all, like I said, but look in the chest here, the dropper. Actually, we took all the gold here for the spawn deco, so we don't have very much here. In terms of coal blocks, we have pretty good. I would say this would be in coal form. This would be 9 times as much. So 81 shulker boxes basically of coal, plus the dropper here, or dispenser here. So pretty good amount of coal. Blaze rods, like I said, this is the main use is what it's for. We have shulker boxes, basically about 500,000 shulkers, or 500,000 blaze rods here. We have storage for about 1 million of each item type, which for skulls we'll never reach that, and the same for gold blocks. But for bone meal, this is our main source of bone meal. We have about 250,000-ish bone blocks here. And then we have an overflow, which will probably never ever get used at all. But yeah, all in all, pretty cool design. You have some pixel art on top to signify what mobs can get farmed here. So we have Blaze, Pigman, and Wither Skeleton. And yeah, this is the actual outside of the farm, which is quite cool. Also, one thing with this design, we have a box sorter here. So every single filled shulker boxes gets put up this same dropper elevator here. And we sort all the boxes out currently so they all go to the right area. So what we do is we have a thing called, it's a box sorter. So we take an item out of the shulker box here very quickly, and then we immediately break it, and then we detect which item that is based off the pre-made filters here. So if it's coal blocks, it'll go there, blue skeletons, it'll go there, bone blocks, gold blocks, and blaze rods, and whatever one will go to, that one will get unlocked, and then the shulker box will get dispensed in the correct location. It would get its item that was taken out back, and then would get broken. So we have a fill shulker box go to the storage in the right area. So usually with the shulker box filter, you would lose one item out of the shulker box, but this one, it re-puts that item back into the shulker box for you, which is always pretty good, so you don't have any backlog of items. Anything that comes through that you don't need would just get into over here. Usually that would go to the overflow, but I never hooked it up because I'm never going to use it, basically. But yeah, mobs would just fall out on their own. This is before update suppression, obviously. So if we wanted to improve it, we would update suppress the bottom of the portal here. The mobs would fall through immediately and not rely off pushing each other onto the side. But yeah, let's go to the end and end this episode off. Actually, do have one more thing. So we had the ascend and piston bolt. We now have the descend and piston bolt. This one, the other one takes us up. This one takes us down. It is the same speed. These are both 28 blocks per second compared to the regular piston bolt, which is 20 blocks per second. And no block here. We'll go rapidly down to the bottom. Then we can transport it back onto the regular piston bolt here. And now we got to take 3,000 blocks back to the Nether Hub. Alright, after about 2-minute trip, we are back at the hub. As you can see, the top piston bolts aren't completed yet, just because they are very long, and decorating them takes quite some time, so I was only able to finish the piston bolt itself. I wasn't able to do decoration for these two, but they still work, so that's all that really matters right now. We have one more location technically, we have technically 2 more, but it's all considered to be the end. So very quick piston bolt here. We have a little area at the dragon head and the egg at the end of the piston bolt. There's one thing with the corner transitions that we can have is we have little areas we can put some stuff there, like theme it around each piston bolt. But yeah. So this is our portal. You can see that's not actually there actually is no portal, but if you go up a little bit, you can see the portal there. Used to have a concrete duper here, so that's the reason why there is no end frames or anything around the portal. And we have a thing to shoot items through the top there. We never want to use the obsidian platform for anything. Just controlled by hover clock up top with a bunch of storage for items. But yeah, let's jump to the portal here and we'll go to the end. Alright, so back there we have a Y0 Enderman farm. Very easy for early game XP. We're not going to go to it. Very small platform. Hit the skeletons, or the Endermen themselves. Up here, we have something that one of our server members, Zeno, wanted to do. We have basically a 50,000 block long ice path that goes off for quite some way. I actually didn't even load it with voxel map before, so it would go on for quite some time. It's about a 30-minute ride to the end or something like that. Kind of crazy. But, yeah. So, you want to do this, get some more elytras, because we didn't dupe the elytras. But, we have plenty of them now. So we really only have one thing in the end, which is the old concrete storage and our new concrete duper. The old concrete storage we're not going to go to. Just a bunch of hoppers and color combination stuff. But yeah, this is our new duper by Ashfest and Ken 2000. This is about 180,000 dupes. You can use it for concrete, sand, gravel, any basic gravity blocks. I don't know if it works for dragon eggs. We haven't really tried it out. But yeah, we can actually turn this on. Auto switch is down here. We will just need to put a player. You can hear all the pistons firing, and it is quite a cool thing to watch. Actually do need to go load the storage before we crash the server. So we'll go through the portal here. And if you don't have a bed set, you'll go to spawn. And we'll go to the concrete itself here. Currently, I think we are in powder mode. So all the concrete just falls down, lands on a waterlogged trapdoor, and into the nether, which is where we have the storage. If you want to put in the concrete mode, we want to turn the farm actually off, so we can't really do that right now. So we're going to go to the nether side and show the storage off. You might have seen this in the beginning. There's just a big thing above the Nether Hub, which is where our storage is. This thing right here, we'll turn on, turn off BSL so that we can actually see that a little bit better because of the fog. So yeah, this is actually the storage that I designed here. We have the detected items from the portal here with the tripwire. We have a fade out clock, so if we for some reason get a bit of a gap between each of them, the clock will still stay on. So we just unpower this simple hopper clock with one item in it. That is our actual clock. See, we get one item back and forth, which is what the clock goes based off of. So we shoot the items off the ender chest here, then we align them with the honey block, and then immediately shoot them off. The first sorters here are for concrete, so that's why nothing getting collected. But back here, this is the most satisfying thing I've ever built in the game. You can see just how quick the items get shot around. This here must be because we didn't load the chunks, so that's why those are on the edge there. So very poor location, but let's watch the items from over here to see how quick they get over to here. It is one of the most satisfying things to watch that I've ever built. All perfectly timed, as quick as you could get it, which is quite cool. Then we need to realign the items here, so we push them with the hardening block over, and then we shoot them across. Do it every other time. If you do it every time, it wouldn't be enough time to put the item back. But with this, we do it every other time, and it works out. And then obviously this is for all concrete, and then the back here, the concrete powder here. So we have concrete, concrete powder, and then sand, gravel, and red sand on the back here. And then yeah, those go packed into shulker boxes. Then we have another box sorter here, so they all go into one thing here, and then we sort them out with the same box sorter that we use in the Wither Skeleton farm. But for this, we use it for the concrete here. So we have concrete powder next to it for each every color, and the box sorter is very useful for that because we can have it work just like this. So at the very end, there was a box that got put into the system, and it got put into the right location. And then we have shulkers upon shulkers of every single color. And if you look at the floor here, we have lamp indicators for each color. Each lamp corresponds to each chest. So the first one here is the first chest, second, third, fourth, fifth. This was Jake's idea, so it is quite one of the server members. It is quite a bit of a mess, but it does serve its purpose, I guess. So yeah, this is the whole storage here, and we have pretty much storage for about 500,000 of each concrete in concrete form and concrete powder form. So you can hear the storage is going off all the time, but yeah. We'll just get rid of the, I should leave it running because this is just a copy, so we'll just get reverted back to what it was before the tour. And if you didn't notice, for each piston bolt, there is a banner, which kind of helps indicate what goes to where. So Slime Farm has the slime face. Willow Skeleton has this blue, what is it called? Willow Skeleton? Kind of indicates that it is in a soul sand valley, if you couldn't guess by the blue theme we have going on here with the soul sand. The witch has the cauldron, and Raid Farm has the new mob that's going to be coming soon. The witch looting one is kind of a simple witch because it is simple. We have the Ender Dragon one, which is kind of cool to look at. And then we have the Guardian, the Creeper and Mob Farm, the Savannah, which is kind of cool how you can get that little hill aspect to it, the Hoglin banner. Go to the other side, we have a few more. We have the Gold Farm and Barter area. We have the other Slime Farm starter one. We have the Ice Farm, the main base, the Portal Pigman Farm, Iron Farm, and then soon to be Blast Furnace, or the actual Furnace Array. And then we have this Quarry one, which is just the pickaxe inside of a block with an X through it to signify you don't mine it automatically. Kind of a bad design, but kind of gets the idea across. Can't really do too much with that. But yeah, and we have the spawn banner right here. So we'll go to the spawn one last time, and then we'll end it off the 1 year tour. So yeah, we actually do have the mob switches that will. It's just a bunch of withers in a cage. We'll go into spectator real quick. Drop entity ticken and entity rendering. All right, so we have entity ticken and entity rendering off. This way we can actually get close to it in spectator and not have our frames go through the floor. The server will still lag, obviously. We have a 3x3x1 bedrock formation. It is actually surprisingly quite close to spawn. You can see the decoration right there. Yeah, we have 576 withers indicated by that top left number there, right here, out of 140. That is our amount of withers we have in the overworld here. We have the same amount in the nether, and there's also the same design here. We have them all in the side of this bedrock formation here, and they have their heads in the ender chest so they don't suffocate, but they cannot get out. And we have them in vines here so that they don't cause a lot of lag. So see right now that we're loading the mobs itself, we're at 65 ms. But if I go out of CS here, go back to the spawn, you can see it drops down once it stabilizes, with us both on the server and the concrete player loaded. So we'll just, without the concrete player loaded and nobody else on the server, that number, the 19 on the right there, right here, the green, will drop down to about 7 milliseconds per tick, which is pretty good for the server. So anything above 40 is considered a lag in the game. So if you're doing that, then you could risk falling the server behind. I do have the entity ticket off, so I can't rock it. But yeah, we have those hooked up to a chunk loading line, so you can see right there. You would say, why would I have a chunk loader in the spawn chunks itself? Well, that's because we currently, if I say I run into like a backup or something like that, restart the server, it would require me to come back onto the server and then load the switches automatically or by myself. With this design, we can detect when the server is on or off with the chunk loader in the spawn chunks, and then we just chain this to each mob switch. So we have one for the overworld switch and one for the nether switch. So when I make a backup, we wait about like 10-15 seconds for the chunk loading to kick in, and then we have automatically get both mob switches to load without needing a player on the server, which is quite cool. So yeah, something you can do if you want to do in your world. You can have a chunk loader in the spawn chunks, and then once you can detect that load-in, you can just chain that to where you need to go, and it'll, off a server restart or off a single player start, you can load things without you needing to be in that location, which is quite cool. Something that I found out, and it is quite useful, honestly, especially for load-in mobs, which is off a server start or stuff like that. But yeah, all in all, that's going to be it for our server tour. Got a pretty much good done. Got a good amount done in this between the 6-month and the 1 year tour, but we won't be doing another 6-month tour. We'll be the one at 2 years. So back in 1 year from now, we will have that next tour. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Get some even better farms, hopefully, for the 2 year tour. And yeah, like, subscribe, all those sorts of things, and I'll see you in the next one.